There, we're just resuming our coverage of round 3 of the London Chess Classic, and the marathon game Anand and Carlsen is still going on. My name's Daniel King, and I have with me Malcolm Pein, the event director. Malcolm, you've just been looking at this game, and finally, it seems like Vichy might be making some progress. Exactly, we want the queens on the board, because that's going to be a lot easier, we hope. Let's just...
We've got some moves?
Yeah, we've got some moves.
Okay.
So, 71 rook c6.
Ooh, this looks pretty serious.
And queen f7. So he's taken on f6.
Indeed. Rook f8.
Rook f8. Takes, check.
Okay, and I think Vichy would want to keep the queens on, just because when you want to keep the queens on is when your opponent's king is weaker than yours. And it's pretty clear whose king is the weaker here. One is residing in luxury, and the other is having his house half blown away.
What do you think? Has he played it? Yeah. He's played it. Well, that's 2 pawns, and I think that's the end of the game. Basically, that's a winning advantage.
I mean, the point is that all endgames are winning now. Queen ending, rook ending, king and pawn ending, and the middle game looks pretty grim too.
You could play rook c2. Has he played it? Okay.
Yeah. Now, if queen f3 check, then you just don't want to put your king on g1. So he's resigned.
He's resigned.
Well, I mean, this is a big game for the world of chess. The world number 1 has beaten the world number 2, and increased the distance between them on the ranking list, and put a marker down in a way that I'm still top dog.
And does that kind of makes it more difficult for Magnus to sort of have some kind of moral claim on or right to sort of dictate terms in a world championship?
Yeah,
perhaps?
I mean, I wrote in the Telegraph that there's a lot more on this game than the prize money, and a lot more on this tournament than the prize money, because Magnus is trying to say, look, I don't like the world championship system, and I'm Magnus Carlsen, so please change it. And I think he's really, really going to struggle to have any influence on that now. I mean, Vichy Anand scored what is a major psychological and a major practical blow. I think this is a big day for him.
And
we're ready.
Before we go through any more, I think we should welcome into the commentary room world champion Vichy Anand. It's a long game, so I don't think we need to take this too long. I think, should we zip through the opening? And
okay, I'll show you the 2 critical moments.
Yeah, okay.
So the first thing is what he missed. His original idea was this, but luckily I have this move. And this is the point which wins.
Okay, could we just go through that one a little bit more slowly?
Just a little bit more slowly.
Okay, so he goes queen e6.
Queen e6. Let's try and get the variation for a start. Thank you.
I take the exchange.
Yeah.
But he comes knight c5, attacking that and threatening knight b3.
Yeah.
But I have bishop a3. Now,
so if queen takes c8,
rook c1 wins back the exchange.
Okay, let's just see that actually. So queen c8 and
rook c1.
Rook c1 just picks up the knight.
Yeah.
Okay, and no complications. No complications. Okay, so knight b3 forced.
Then I go queen d8.
Okay, and
threatening mate.
Yeah.
He plays queen c8.
Yeah.
But now it's very important that I get rook d1 in, and there's basically nothing he can do against queen takes c8 and rook d8.
It's for me. Okay. Okay, so this is when is this on? That's on. Brilliant.
I mean, basically my opening went wrong somewhere, but luckily I found this idea somehow just to hang on. The problem is I have to take with the knight. If I take with the bishop, he takes on b4, and it didn't look very pleasant. But I think we'll just get to the middle games.
Okay.
This is the critical move. The other problem for him is that if rook takes c4, then I actually have this intermezzo.
Yeah, exactly. And let's just show this. The point being, if the queen takes straight away, then the knight on f5 is on prise. So, but if we throw in, and that's absolutely fine for blacks. But if we throw in knight h6 check, king goes to h8, and then we take here, and of course the knight on h6 can't be taken because there's the bishop on b2. So white is simply winning there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I had the impression during the game that black should have no problems here. But I felt that perhaps white was getting out of danger as well, though it was just an impression. I couldn't tell one way or the other.
Magnus, what did you think around about this point?
Well, I mean, obviously the opening had gone so well that here I was definitely playing for an advantage and nothing else. So basically bishop e4 is a huge oversight. Yeah, I couldn't really see any way for black to be better here. Maybe there is none, although that would surprise me.
Okay. Was that the problem, that suddenly the opening went...
Maybe this is fine as well for black.
Yes.
Maybe this is slightly better for black because I cannot recover the pawn because he has this move.
Okay, so rook takes, knight takes d3, and there's too much on prise.
I think. Yeah. So,
very much so.
Yeah. So he should have just done this, which he would have done if he had not had this oversight. Luckily, I saw it very late while I was playing, while I was thinking here around about move 18 or whatever. I'd seen this point that I have bishop a3 and rook d1, so that was a bit of luck.
Actually, I thought knight h6 would be forced after bishop e4.
After bishop
But
d4.
that's just a very bad ending for white.
Gh6?
Gh6, queen d4, f6.
Sorry, which
rook
position?
e1, bishop c5, queen e4.
Sorry, guys. Which position are you talking about?
Well,
After
he
bishop.
meant here. He thought knight at 6 check was the way for white. Something along these lines. Rook e1.
Oh, yeah.
Which I hadn't seen at all. So
Yeah, no, we actually had a little look at this. I mean, the game moved on very quickly, but
yeah.
we thought this was possible actually. Yeah.
Okay, one other critical moment here. After rook c7, my original impression was I was winning, but then I couldn't find it because this move is important. Now only queen c8 works. I go knight h6. And then suddenly it hit me that he just releases the bishop somewhere, b4 or c5, and he's fine. But Magnus pointed out in the end that queen e6 is winning anyway. If this is true, I haven't checked it. If this is true, then this would have been quite brilliant, and that makes rook c2 the only move.
Actually,
but if it's not correct, then rook c7 is probably better than rook c2.
Okay. Can we just ask, when f6 was played, if we just go there, because that seemed to be a critical moment,
Yeah.
black had a choice of not very attractive possibilities.
Yeah, the endgames are
how
pretty
do you
horrible.
find
I mean, if you put the knight on f5...
Yeah. We're talking, so that everyone knows, the one which we reached frequently, which was the bishop and 3 pawns, rook, bishop and 3, against rook and knight and 3 on the same side.
I think that might be too much.
So this one here, we're seeing the queen's come off and the bishop takes the knight. And then, and then rook takes a6.
Yeah, but my impression is this must be very close to lost.
Lost, yeah.
if I could play h5, maybe I...
Well, you can sort of force it with rook here. Because if I take... no, you don't have bishop g7.
That's the problem.
Nah,
I can
sure,
get
sure.
the same position with the rook on c8, maybe.
Because,
if I play queen f6 instead.
That's
what I was
sorry.
considering.
Okay. Excuse me.
Okay, so
this
this queen takes? You think this is
Well,
a
with
better
the pawn,
variation?
I was not sure, but anyway, knight takes...
Well, the
takes,
point, what he's trying to do
and
is...
now play rook c5.
is to get a pair of pawns off, so that if I take, then he has bishop g7, and
Right,
then we get
yeah.
into rook ending. And if I go g4, then h5, but this must be lost.
Oh, okay, rook a. I didn't see rook a.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but
No.
okay, you have to wait
Okay.
for eternity. No? So,
Anyway, I didn't yet see why f6 was losing,
Yeah.
so...
And what about, did you even consider the possibility of rook c6 even, which seems a crazy move, just giving up the pawn on g7?
Oh yeah, actually I did. I mean, my position was desperate, so I did consider every
I mean,
possible
the way we
move.
see it... yeah. I mean, how do you go, when you've got a choice of horrible possibilities, how do you actually pick...
This one probably isn't so bad.
Yeah.
Well, not bishop c5, I would play queen f6. Oops. I don't know, queen d2, queen d6. I don't know if white has a force win or not.
Probably wouldn't find it anyway.
But I think what I didn't like after rook c6 was rook d1. And then I think rook e6 is the only move.